friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about how to heal after narcissistic abuse. Now, this particular video is going to be very specific to healing from narcissistic abuse from parents, because that has been my lived experience, and I'm a huge proponent of talking about my lived experience, not about something that I'm thinking of or that I imagine would be somebody's experience. No, I like to talk from the perspective of this has been my lived experience, and that this is what I'd like to share with other people who are dealing with similar situations based on what I am doing, based on the lived experience that I've had. Okay, so with that brief explanation out of the way, let's get into 5 things that you can do, because this is what I'm doing. 5 things that you can do to heal after narcissistic abuse from your parents. So without further ado, let's get into tip number 1. The first thing you're going to do to heal post-narcissistic abuse from your parents is to reparent yourself. Now, lucky for you, I already have a video on the channel all about reparenting, and I'll make sure to link it for you in the card section above, as well as in the description bar below. So if you want a whole video on reparenting, how I'm reparenting myself post-narcissistic abuse from my mom, then you will find that video in the card section above, as well as in the description bar below. Reparenting yourself is literally what it sounds like. It's essentially raising yourself as an adult, raising yourself from where you are, raising yourself from where they dropped you, isn't it? And while I have a whole separate video about reparenting, essentially you want to assess your core values and your core beliefs and really look at them under a microscope. Look at them and ask yourself, what beliefs do I hold based on my narcissistic upbringing, based on the fact that I was being raised by a narcissistic mom, a narcissistic dad. And for those of you who were raised up in a 2-parent home, you might not have 2 narcissistic parents. Oftentimes what happens is you have a narcissistic parent and an enabling parent. So you have the parent who's a narcissist, and you have the parent who supports the narcissist and who enables the narcissist and allows them to exist in that narcissistic environment, okay? And oftentimes I find that you guys are way worse off. Like, I find that type of narcissistic abuse is way worse than just having one narcissistic parent. And so you want to do an internal inventory of all your values and your beliefs. Really look at them and ask yourself if they still serve you. So you might have been brought up by a narcissistic parent who was very irresponsible with money, and so they raised you to have a very unhealthy relationship with money. And in a capitalistic system, we need money to survive. We need money to survive. We need money to buy food, provide shelter for ourselves, and all other amenities that come with having shelter, isn't it? And so it's absolutely crucial to have a healthy relationship with money. If you were brought up by a narcissistic parent, you might also find that you have an unhealthy relationship with food, because maybe they were using food as a tool to cane you with, as a tool to criticize you, as a tool to put you down, as a tool to get a rise out of you. And so you might find that you have a very unhealthy relationship with food. If you were brought up by a narcissistic parent, you might also find that you don't trust yourself because you were brought up by your biggest foe. So now you feel like you can't trust yourself, you can't trust your judgment, you don't think you have good ideas, you don't think what you want to do will work. Why? Because you've been fucking with your brain your whole fucking life, okay? And so these are the things that you need to reparent. Those are the things that you need to reparent. That is the gap that reparenting fills, okay? And by reparenting yourself, you build morals and values and beliefs that serve you. You build morals, values, and beliefs that match who you are now as an adult who is aware that you were being brought up by a narcissistic parent, okay? And so you're able to heal some of those things. You're able to repair your relationship with food. You're able to repair your relationship with money. You're able to repair your relationship with yourself, okay? So that is the first and most important thing you need to do to heal from narcissistic abuse from narcissistic parents. Okay. The second thing you need to do to heal from narcissistic abuse from narcissistic parents is to acknowledge and validate your pain. I feel like I'm still in that phase, like I'm still in that stage of acknowledging my pain and acknowledging that hurt and betrayal. And I find so much validation in sharing these videos and reaching out to people who are literally reaching out to me via DM, via email, telling me, you know what, this has also been my lived experience, and my whole life I felt so gaslit. My whole life I felt like no one really understood what I was saying when I was saying that my parent is a narcissistic parent. And for me, that is so validating. That is so validating. That not only can I heal myself, but I can help other people healing. That is everything. And that is what encourages me to pick up a camera, set it up, put on makeup, sit down, record, edit, and post for you all. Because at the end of the day, those of us who are brought up by narcissistic parents, our narcissistic parents will never take accountability, right? And I will continue to talk about this, but it's not because I'm expecting my narcissistic parents to take accountability for their poor upbringing, right? For their childhood neglect. I'm not expecting them to take accountability because that for me, like, it won't undo any of the hurt that I have. It won't undo any of the childhood wounds that I have. It won't undo the fact that I was being molested for 4 years. Like, it won't undo the fact that I literally felt disgusted with my skin for 10 years straight. It won't undo the fact that I was crying spontaneously for 10 years straight because I just felt so disgusting in my own skin. Even now, just thinking about it just makes me want to claw my skin off of my bones because it's so fucking disgusting that has been part of my lived experience. And so, me sharing these videos is not because I'm expecting my narcissistic mom to be like, you know what, I was a neglectful parent and I'm sorry, because that will not undo any of the harm that has already been done. Sharing these videos is to reach out to other people who have similar lived experiences and for them to see that they are not alone. They are not alone. And for me to share tips with them of what I'm doing to heal and what I'm doing to find a way to navigate through this chapter, because I wholeheartedly believe that healing is going to be a lifelong journey. Healing is going to be a lifelong journey. It literally took me 29 years to unlock the memories of the fact that I was being molested as a child because I was a neglected child. It took me 29 years to unlock those memories. 29 years. And so I'm wholeheartedly expecting you to take the next 29 years to get to a place where I'm like, you know what? I feel like I have peace now. I feel like I have peace now. I feel like I am in a new place, you know. And for me, I'm very, very okay with that. Like, this is why I'm doing all this, because I know that it's going to take time, but not if I never start the process. And that's the same advice that I'm giving to you. It will take time, but not if you never start the process. If you never start the process, then you will just be living a life where you're making decisions from a place of hurt and betrayal because you are being brought up by bad parents. And so when it hurts, you have to start somewhere. When it hurts, honestly, it's very traumatizing. Every time I have a video that I have been putting off to edit because I have to listen to the audio, and the audio is really hurtful. But at the same time, I know that I have to edit that video at some point in time. I have to edit it, and I have to get re-traumatized all over again. But I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in the fact that only I can heal myself. I'm an adult, so I have to take responsibility for healing myself. Well, those people, my narcissistic mother and my pedophilic uncle, well, they do not have a right to abuse me. I have a right to heal myself. Do you get it? Well, they did not have a right to abuse me and neglect me and molest me. I have a right to heal. I have a right to talk about it. If someone can have the audacity to neglect me as a child, then I can have the audacity to talk about it. If someone can have the audacity to molest me for 4 years straight, then I can have the audacity to call them out on it, isn't it? So you have to acknowledge and validate your pain. Nobody is going to come and acknowledge and validate your pain. The people who hurt you feel perfectly justified that they hurt you. They are completely okay with it. They are sleeping soundly. So you have to take the responsibility to heal. And that is, honestly, that's why I'm here. And that's why I make these videos, because at the end of the day, I have to validate my own pain. I have to validate my own pain. I have to validate my own pain. And if someone can have the audacity to hurt me, then I can have the audacity to talk about it until I'm blue in the face, isn't it? So without further ado, let's go to tip number 3. So the third thing you can do that I'm doing to heal from narcissistic abuse from a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic parent or parents is to set boundaries. Now, I've shared in a previous video, I can't remember which exactly, so what I'll do is I'll pop it up on the screen. I shared in a previous video about the fact that boundaries do not work with narcissists. External boundaries do not work with narcissists, because narcissists are essentially psychopaths on Prozac, psychopaths on Xanax, like psychopaths on relaxing medication. That's what I mean. So they're psychopaths, yes, but they have just a little bit more empathy than psychopaths do, which is why they did not hurt you as a child, although I'm pretty sure at some point they thought about it. So because you're dealing with essentially a psychopath on Prozac or Xanax, they feed off of doing the thing that irritates you. it gets them off. It gets them excited. It makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel like they are someone. Which is so fucking disgusting. But it does. And so when you set an external boundary, for example, what do I mean by an external boundary? I mean a boundary like such and such. When you do 1, 2, 3, it hurts my feelings. When you do such and such, it makes me feel bad. When you make that kind of a boundary, you have just told them what to do to get a rise out of you. So for narcissists, external boundaries do not work. I hope even the guys in the back are really scared. For narcissists, external boundaries do not work. External boundaries for narcissists simply tell them what to do to piss you off. Simply tell them, give them a manual on what they need to do to get you pissed off. That's all it does. And so when I talk about set boundaries, I mean to set internal boundaries. Internal boundaries. So for example, because again, all these things that I talk about are from my lived experience. So one boundary that I personally have is that I don't reach out to my narcissistic parent. I just leave them be. And it's because every time in the past that I tried to reach out, it blew up in my face in a colossal way, in a mushroom cloud in the sky kind of way. And so I have since learned that they are not a safe person for me to engage with. And so, as an internal boundary, I leave them alone. I have not cut them off because I have a little sister. She's 12, turning 13, and because my narcissistic parent is her sole guardian, I can't just cut her off because I still want to know how my sister is doing. And so that is why I have not cut her off. But believe me, when my sister turns 18, that will change. Okay, so let's move on to tip number 4. The fourth thing you need to do to heal yourself after narcissistic abuse from your parents is to do a relationship inventory. Let me tell you, if there is something that is going to highlight so much to you, is tip number 4. When you do a relationship inventory, you will realize that because you are brought up by narcissistic parents, a lot of your circle is full of narcissists. Why? Because as humans, we are attracted to that which is familiar. As human beings, we are attracted to that which is familiar, that which we know, that which we have experienced before. And so when I did a relationship inventory, I found out that literally every person in my friend group is a narcissist. And as you can see, I'm flabbergasted. I was then and I am now. So for me, doing the relationship inventory was like my least favorite thing, because I thought that my chosen family would be so different from the family that I was born into. Shock on me. But even though it was not a fun thing that I did, it wasn't fun to realize that my entire friend group, like everyone is a narcissist. But it was important because once I cut them off, I just felt like I could breathe better. I felt like I could think with clarity. And I felt like the issues that I was raising were valid. And so I encourage you to sit down with yourself and do a relationship inventory. Sit down, write a list of all the people you call your friends, all the people who you think are in your corner, and then evaluate their behavior, evaluate the things that they do that makes you pause, and then ask yourself, are these narcissistic traits or not? Okay? So yeah, that is going to be tip number 4. Okay, so tip number 5 of how to heal yourself after narcissistic abuse from your parents is to start building relationships from scratch. Pause. Listen. My best advice, which is the same advice that I give to myself, is take time to heal first. Because when you are too early in the healing journey, you are still susceptible to making friends who are narcissists. When you are too early in the healing journey, when you've just started, you will still attract narcissists. So my advice to you is take some time off. Take some time off of friend making, take some time off of dating, take some time off of all those things. Just take time off and be by yourself. I would say go for like 2 years minimum, but use your discretion on that. Take some time to heal. Take some time to be by yourself, to do things by yourself, to liberate yourself, to validate yourself, to listen to yourself. Listen to those hard feelings. listen to your inner child, the only way you will be able to create a healthy community around yourself is to first take the time to heal. Once you've taken the time to heal, you will be able to spot a narcissist a mile away. You will be able to spot someone who poses as a very, very, very good friend, but might actually be your all. You will be able to see the signs with clarity. And that brings us to the sixth and final tip of how to heal from narcissistic parent upbringing, which is to cut them off. The reason why it's number 6 is because it's like healing final boss, right? As human beings, we are social beings. We are social beings. We are social creatures. We thrive off community. We thrive off having people in our corner. So cutting someone off, cutting a parent off, is not something you do lightly, isn't it? It's not something you do lightly. It's something you do after you've given it a lot of thought, and realizing that the alternative to community is capital. I'll say that again. The alternative to community is capital. If you cut off the place where you might move to, in the event that you lose your job, it means that you can never lose your job. You can never be unemployed, all right? It means that you can never not have health insurance. It means that you are taking responsibility for yourself 100%. So definitely keep that in mind. Cutting people off is a very adult and mature thing to do, but just remember that in the place of community is capital. That brings us to the end of this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. If you want to talk about being brought up by narcissistic parents, you can connect with me in the comment section, or if you're shy, like some of you are, then you can go ahead and email me. My email is usually in the description about section up above. So if you want to connect person to person, then you can reach out to me through email, or if you want to have a community chat, then connect with me in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one.